All right, welcome to Raising Funds for World Domination, day number 134. Orthoplex 64, how's it going? So, once again, there's no updates on the renovation situation. Things are starting to, I guess we're almost at the exactly 1 month mark off that the next hearing will be. And as in previous streams, we're going to continue working toward the next release of the terminal block mining simulation game. As for the video that I'm working on, I continue to work on that today. So today was just pure editing. This video has a lot of details in it, but scripting is 100% done. Video recording, audio recording, basically 100% done. And actually I went through and actually calculated the percent. So technically today I overestimated the percent. So today we'll say 36% done, which I think is not too inaccurate. But yeah, I'm not sure. The editing is pretty dense. It's just lots of keyframes and lots of details and stuff like that. So it'll be, I think I said before that it'll be maybe the weekend. So at this point, it's looking at probably, I don't know, maybe Monday, Tuesday. It could be done by Monday, Tuesday. But we'll see. All right. So as for work on the block mining simulation game, so I've been reflecting. Last few streams, I was successful in refactoring some of the later merging to get rid of some of those really, really bad state variables, really kind of convoluted mess of state variables that I added just to kind of speed run getting the tests to pass. But now the tests pass, and it's a little bit more. It's simple enough that you could review how to optimize it. At this point, I'm actually thinking maybe I'll just drop this. And I actually did do some profiling yesterday. So the actual merge down function is really huge. And in Visual VM, which is what I was using for profiling, it just tells you which function takes up all the time. It doesn't give you a line by line breakdown. So there's something, so I could split that function up maybe and optimize parts of it. I have to first figure out which parts of that giant function are the ones that are really slow. But I do know that the calculated occlusions function, that's a big source of the, that's one of the biggest sources of the slowness. That's maybe responsible for 33% or half or something. Depending on the runtime behavior. So I'm actually thinking I may just I think I'll try to just crank out a rewritten version of this, which will be a bit easier now that I have some test cases to go on. So this will be the new goal. So we'll maybe just focus on so this will be the new goal. So maybe we'll try to rewrite the calculated occlusions function because right now it's doing quite a bit. I'm not sure how much faster it'll be after I rewrite it, but we'll see. It should use less memory, and And then we'll speedrun. Speedrun getting some kind of performance increase, which I guess will probably come from this. I might be able to add some like final qualifiers, and there might be a couple simple things if I reprofile it. And then we'll try to get some kind of release. It'd be nice if I could just, I don't know, in a few days from now, just like arbitrarily declare victory and then move on to something more interesting. Yoshikaga Kira says hello. Oh, they changed back the they changed the display names back again. It used to be Dev Yoshikaga Kira. Now it's back to Yoshikaga Kira again. Optimization stream, let's go. Would be nice if you use performance and memory profilers. I actually have been. There's one I use called Visual VM, and I guess I haven't really run it on stream. I think I do have it installed. It's kind of awkward to run. But yeah, when I like move around the map, most of the CPU time, it's actually kind of, I have to use a bit of intuition about where the actual slowness comes from, because there's multiple threads, and yeah, I guess actually both the map area thread and the console writer thread, both of them are stuck in the calculate occlusions and merge down function for most of the time. I guess it's because I have so many features in that function that it's trying to support. Okay, so that's our next goal. Oh yeah, actually I added some final statements after last stream. But yeah, I got rid of all those state flags. So it's just a bit simpler now. All right, let's make sure it still works. Caden Terry says, how much money do we have so far? I think in total, I really need to go back and tally it up again. I guess I could check from the analytics. I think it's probably close to like 2,500 since I started the campaign. All right, game still works. Help menu is still horribly slow. Some of this might have some really like dumb optimizations. Like I wouldn't be surprised if I'm printing the entire help menu to like an inactive layer or something. But I really just need to kind of step through things, and that's why I was thinking about implementing that fancy like screen updating debugging feature, but that way I can actually visualize what's being updated on the screen, and it could be some feedback on what work it's doing internally, which would make like performance problems much more obvious. But damn, that's nice. What kind of game are you coding? It's a terminal-based video game where you simulate the process of mining blocks of iron ore and other minerals. So what you just saw there, it's an infinite procedurally generated universe where you can wander around, and it's all blocks. Hi Robert, it's been a while. School's kept me busy. Been working on my website. I hope your game development has been rewarding. Do you think making the website from MD files? Do you think making the website from MD files rather than HTML? I guess I don't really understand the question. Do I think that you should make a website from MD files instead of HTML? If it's on the web, it has to be HTML, because that's what browsers understand. Although I'm sure there's like renderers, like preprocessors that can take an MD file and then process that into HTML, kind of like on GitHub or. I know you can host websites on GitHub as well. That's probably, I guess that's technically already built in because you can put like readmes and stuff in there. I have it based in GitHub.io. Yeah, GitHub.io, that's what I was thinking of. Render to HTML. I like doing it in MD files. That's what I'm doing. Yeah, I think that's it's a very easy way to get websites set up. You can write them from scratch, but then to make them look half decent and render properly and stuff, you got to put in a bunch of style sheet rules and stuff. And I think if you just want to get some information up quick, it makes sense to not reinvent the wheel. But if you want to do something kind of unique and novel, then it might make more sense to do all the HTML from scratch. What do you think about adding some debug output to the rendered layers? Too much overhead? Yeah, I was actually thinking about like a super fancy thing where basically like it would like render where I could like turn on a debug mode or something, either like at runtime in the game or with a special run flag where it would go to print, like when it goes to print, it would say, okay, here's the sub, it would just like highlight everything in red and say, here's the sub-region that we're going to update. So that would let me like know what kind of size of change region it's considered. And then it would say, now updating screen region from this point to this point. And then there'd be something maybe in the corner that prints and says like, here's how many updates were done. And that would kind of let me, like right now I can run the profiler. I can see that the slowest thing is the merge down function. That's where most of the processing time is spent. Now it could be that I'm also, it's possible, like, for example, one problem I had was I had this concept of like change regions where it would only update a sub-region of the screen that's under consideration. Like for example, if the frame on the side updated, it would only update that area. It would only check and do the merge on that area of the screen instead of the whole thing. And I had a bug where it would add change regions to the screen layer and it would never remove them. So it would just accumulate the history of every single change region, and it would constantly update everything on the screen every single cycle, and then reprint everything. So that was of course extremely inefficient. So there's probably a number of like small performance bugs like that, and I would be able to identify them. Another one is like zero-sized change regions. So for example, if I print something, if I try to update it like a map, something on the map area, but it's off the screen, what the algorithm is supposed to do is say, it's supposed to compute the intersection between the area being updated and the area that's just in that layer. And then with some of the refactoring I did a while ago, it should just return, instead of returning null, it returns an empty change region. And there's cases where I should just say, if it's an empty region, don't even consider it, because if I just let it pass through, what it'll do is it'll send a message between the threads, and it'll say like, oh, you need to print this. Here's the region, and it's a zero-sized region. So what it's doing is it's blocking the thread. It's going into the operating system. It's sending like a whole message passing thing, allocating, deallocating messages, and doing blocking queue reads and writes and stuff, all for like basically a zero-sized write, which is a waste of time. So simple things like that are able to, it's easy, it'll work, obviously, even in the presence of things like that. Did that for some render optimization a while ago. I was thinking about doing it, but I think it would just take too much time, and it's all a consideration for what's the most best cost-benefit analysis. Frinto says, are you unironically schizo, or is this a bit? Are you the same individual who sent the super chat a couple nights ago? You have the same profile picture. That was me before. That was before I found out you were kind of schizo. That's an arbitrary accusation. I'm not the one who goes around changing my my username every couple days. How might you catch those invisible updates? I guess with the like render feedback mechanism, like where if I could turn on a debug mode where for every screen update, if I could just like press like next to continue to the next one, that would like give me the feedback, and then I'd see in the numbers that it's updating like a zero-sized region. Got Team Fortress 2 to run on the XPS 720. Nice. Seems like all the Valve games run well on Linux. Yeah, I think they were one of the first significant mainstream companies to push for supporting Linux. I'm referring to the video on you making billions from streaming. Yeah, you don't like my plans? What are you doing right now? I'm currently working on building a terminal-based video game. So I'll just compile it and run it. So this is the game. It's a terminal. It's a game that runs fully in the Linux terminal, where you can simulate the process of mining blocks of iron ore and other minerals. Valve is so impressive with that ability. Beyond mind blown. We need more Linux support for games. Yeah, I think games is a pretty good entry to getting more Linux support. If you can get young people into Linux, then that's they will build the next generation of computer users. Although I think the one big thing is the use of mobile devices now. A lot of young people don't even use desktop computers. Renfitch says, hey, is it a game? Yes. Yeah, so for anyone new, this is the game. Use Fedora. Excellent. Love your game concept. If you were to add some kind of mystical lore behind quests, I would play it. Yeah, that's the goal. Recently, I guess it's been about the last at least 50 days or so. I've been working on kind of completely refactoring how the user interface works to try and first of all fix some bugs that happen in certain terminals, but also fix a bunch of edge cases with multi-column character overlaps and stuff. But I'm going to try and make a push to just release the next version, and there's still lots of optimizations I could do to improve the lag, but I will defer those to the future. I switched to Linux last year. I'm free from Microsoft. Yeah, Microsoft is getting kind of predatory. Give us some super awesome lore and make it a grinder. Grinder, is that's a genre of game, I assume? Yeah, eventually people really want me to put loot boxes and microtransactions in it. So we'll have to get that in the queue. But yeah, anyway, that's the game. Yeah, I think one of the next major things I'm going to add is like a more formal recipe system. So right now you just press C to craft, but it's not you can't actually control. So it just goes into your inventory and checks to see if you have the necessary items. And then if you do it, it'll craft that recipe, but it doesn't let you select which recipe. So it's an under implemented aspect of the game. Loot boxes are definitely required for world domination. Yeah, they seem to be very profitable. So. I don't know why, but Linux's app stores feel different from Microsoft and Apple. Yeah, I to be honest, I actually don't really use the app stores much at all. Actually, on either platform, I just apt-get install stuff. So let's start work. So we'll call this Calculate Occlusions 2. GNOME software is my favorite, actually. Yeah, personally, I don't really use a lot of the graphical software. My usage patterns of software are pretty restrictive. I'm either in the browser or in the terminal. So I know Screeps, the programmable MMO RTS. I never heard of that. I love Adwaita in general. Have you tried running the game over SSH? I am running it over SSH actually right now. The last demo I did it's over SSH. Probably wrong. Not even Breeze can beat it. I'm not even familiar with what that is. From Burma. What's cracking, Robbie? Not too much. Just working on the block mining simulation game. All right, so this function is going to do some similar stuff. So to be simpler, it will not have these state arrays. So the plan, I guess, will be to run those new calculated occlusions functions from here. And they'll only operate over one strip of the x-axis. So it'll operate at a fixed y. Need to build something to make bank fast, but have no clue what to make. I mean, if you want an entrepreneurial thing, it's very difficult to find arbitrary entrepreneurial things you can do to make money on a whim, unless you have a ton of like resources or some specialized expertise. I guess the standard thing is just regular 9-to-5 employment work. I think SSH impacts performance. It shouldn't in this case. I mean, realistically, it would. There would be some delay with the output coming back, but realistically, it's any terminal application is basically just a serial output of characters. So the application itself, and I also have run the program locally as well, and it has basically the same performance behavior. If it were easy, everyone would be making it. Yep. Alright, so this is basically what I want to do. But instead of making it work in 3 dimensions, we're going to make it just work in 1. Nine to 5 won't bring in the required amount. I need to make 20 racks in 3 months. Head cloud, give me over 80 ideas. Nothing's hitting the mark. Tons of templates from past projects. Bots. I don't know, these bots, are these bots that comply with the terms and conditions of all websites that they interact with? Time to get in the corner. Yep, that's the only option these days. The economy's crashing. Bond yields in the UK are going up. It's pandemonium out there. The IMF is going to have to bail out the UK. I'll violate them. Well, don't be advertising any services that violate terms and conditions of things here. Or I'll have to time you out or ban you. Now, one of the benefits of this should go away and just become a single variable. We need universal basic income, but the problem is if we get universal basic income, then the cost of rent will just go up immediately by whatever the universal cost of income or universal basic income amount is. As soon as we get AI doing our jobs, we'll be good. We need to make money worthless. The problem is, like, we have advanced AI, but like the problem with technological improvements is technology, like for farmers, the invention of like the internal combustion engine in tractors, that was a massive performance increase. Like farmers were able to be way more prosperous by those inventions because they actually own the inventions and they get 100% of the benefits, the like amortized over time benefits of those inventions. The problem is with AI, the people actually who are going to benefit are the people who built the AI and like people who control it. And I was think about it today, like as of today, you still have to be careful about copyright. You can't just rip stuff off. You can't just like steal music and stuff like that. So if you're an individual artist, copyright works against you. But if you're like one of these AI firms, you can just steal every song with no repercussion in every book. So I don't know, not sure where we're headed. We are making it worthless. Try buying property. Yeah, that's an interesting thing to look at is if you look at the price of property or like homes valued in gold, the cost of housing has actually like gone down over the last 20 years or so. But if you value it in currency, it's gone way up because it's not that homes have gone up, it's the currency has gone down. I'm all for automation. I'm all for automation of, stuff like in automation systems that are owned by the laborers. Homeless, just buy a house. Yeah. What is this? This is software development of a terminal-based video game. And it doesn't compile right now, but if you can check some other videos out of my channel if you search for terminal-based video game. Phase 1, make block mining simulation game. Phase 2, ? Phase 3, world domination. Yeah, I think that's what you need to look into. That'll fix all your money problems fast. Same trend of economic inequality extending into other kinds of utility. New ways to give the rabble the illusion of agency. Exchange for debt. Yep, we're all doomed. What's the main plan for world domination? I'm glad you asked. I have a video. If you look at my channel, and I have a video called My Plans for World Domination that explains all the details. I'm for automation because we could be doing more useful work. Many useful people are doing menial tasks. We use our time making things or talking to people or whatever. Yeah, it's you have a good point. We have so many other like the problem of people doing work inefficiently. That's one problem, but with the way the world is going right now, it really seems like we have there's some really basic political things like political stability and like just how to run a society at all. We seem to have almost forgotten that. Given how many like when programmers think about optimization and stuff like that, that's like a luxurious problem to think about. So many people in the world are in such a desperate situation with all the wars and nonsense. Everyone give bro a like for world domination. Thanks. Automation really is hugely useful. Just got to keep in mind a sort of technical sovereignty. Try to understand things in more depth. I think automation's great when automation makes things more efficient. But someone will realize the benefits of that efficiency. And the question is who actually realizes it. It seems like that benefit is concentrated in a smaller number of hands. If we can push for a right to repair in automation, anyone can learn to use a voltmeter and change caps, cables, and hardware. Yeah, I think things that improve the culture, like just cultural awareness, that you can even do this stuff. So as far the percentage of the population that is even aware that you could change capacitors to fix an old machine is very small. No one wants to take risks, so the money and value goes to the fewer and fewer who do. And there's that, and also I think there's greater and greater resistance. Like when you're starting out, like the burden of simply existing, like the tax burden, like the cost to get my taxes done, it's $2,000 at least now. And I was kind of getting ripped off before, so I shopped around. I found another independent accountant. He was charging me $750 to get it done. Then that accounting firm got acquired by a couple years. I had a couple good years, and then they got acquired by another major accounting firm, and now the cost is back up to like a couple $1,000s again. and also just like filing requirements with the government and nonsense. Just a huge society of technicians and programmers. That's what we need, but it's not. We're not really a huge society. We're a small minority. The pro player plays. BLX. Says Gawk. I don't know what that means. To be clear, your initial plan is to raise 12 billion through donations. Yep. Through the live streaming super chats. What are you programming? I am programming a terminal-based video game where you can simulate the process of mining blocks of iron ore and other minerals. They got block programmers happily put all their code on GitHub for free, and then AI just picked it up and started taking their jobs. Yeah, I'm kind of glad that I left the top chat on, because it's honestly quite revealing the kind of stuff it censors. I would have thought it would have censored like swear words more, but it seems to be like it's like the conspiracy theorists, exactly what conspiracy theorists predict. Like, you talk about any controversial thing that the government or some private equity firm wouldn't like, and that'll get censored. In Java, yes. Can't really say anything negative about AI on YouTube. Yeah, it seems like it. Once the youth gets their hands on AI, they're going to be making all kinds of cool stuff. Can't imagine having AI co-pilot at a young age. Yeah, it's it's a natural thing. As you get older, you get kind of out of touch with young people. But I think that's gonna be magnified like 100 times now, because the gap, the technology gap of like what exists today and what existed in the past is much wider. So like the lived experience of a young person today is going to be so radically different from an older person. I've mentioned before, there's in this building where they're trying to renovate everybody, there's one person who's been here. He's lived here for 30 years, and he does not have any internet. And he doesn't have internet. I assume he doesn't have a computer. He said he likes to listen to the radio in his spare time. So imagine showing him like AI generated stuff. It's just such a, like, the gap is just so huge. Tax system is nice example of a system that wasn't designed for us to understand. Think other kinds of technology can improve in a way too. Yeah, there's also a lot of bureaucratic bloat as well. So like processes and stuff that are not well figured out. Real question is, how do you plan to get 12 billion in donations? Is there any content strategy that makes you a global viral sensation and follows donations from massive organizations? I think just keep a positive attitude and think positive, And if my game can impress enough people, then eventually it'll just go viral. Internet free in 2025 is incredible. It's a dwindling minority of people. The maximum YouTube creators have received in donations over a single year. I spent 30 million. So how's math factored to 12 billion? Wow, is that a statistic you looked up? 30 million? The maximum YouTube creators. I'm actually impressed that it's that there are YouTubers apparently who have raised 30 million. Actually, that sounds like too much. Do you think AI could replace trading, like stock market trading? I think it pretty much already has, at least in short-term trading. I think algorithmic trading, high-frequency trading is totally dominated by algorithms now. How long have you been coding for? Since I was about 14 or so. I guess I'm 38 now, so a while. Can you do the troll face? Not right now. You can check out my how I became dangerous video, and that one has a good troll face in it. 30 millions is total across all creators, not a single. Okay. Yeah, I guess that I would believe that number. Yeah, I mean the number is only going to go up, so I can be the trailblazer. I'll be the number one super chat recipient. So I need to increase that record by 3 orders of magnitude. $60 million for YouTube. Oh, you mean that the 30% cut? Okay, let's try to implement this. I think this might actually be not too difficult. Because as a result of my many days of simplification, I think the form of this is pretty much already what I need. Our economy is built to create outliers. You're more likely to beat the previous record by 3 orders of magnitude. We can only hope. How did you get proficient at it? What resources did you use? More textbooks, videos, lectures. Well, I guess I've pretty much dedicated my entire life to learning how to write software. I started writing code. I had ambitions to write like a trading bot way back in the day. That was when I was basically just like 20 years old. And then I came to university and I got a degree in software engineering, and I worked at some tech companies. And did some consulting, some odd contract software development. So just been doing it for years and years. Videos and lectures, lots of them. Wilder says, "What's up, man? How's it going?" Recommend going to a used bookstore, finding a copy of C for Dummies. Honestly, actually, a lot of people still ask about like book recommendations and stuff. But having said that, in this day and age, I would almost say books are. I don't really use many books anymore. Like anytime I want to learn something, I just Google it, or YouTube. There's so much content, so much really good content on YouTube now. Of course, GCC doesn't apply environment variables. I'm not sure what the story is behind that. So that'll probably go here. My fault for using Windows? Use Windows? That's blasphemy. Really enjoying vids from K-Lac lately. Did a nice one on 4th. Interesting. I don't recognize the name. This looks cool, man. Way different. Should the framework CRUD app would I find myself in? That's good. Glad you like it. MSys being insufferable. I have no experience on that. Maybe it's going to require more thinking than I thought. Now to figure out what to do to make a profit. Have you thought about coding a block mining simulation game? That seems to be where our economy is shifting toward today. Let me just clone your repo real quick. No, you can't do that. It's available under a proprietary license. You can't just pirate software. Can I ask a stupid question? Sure. If you're so smart, why aren't you rich? Or do you even want to be? I wouldn't like to be rich. I mean, that is a very good question to ask. I mean, I don't know. Have you watched my how to become a 37-year-old broke loser video? That's got at least the last 10 years of history. That's the long, if you want the 1 hour long answer, but where the last 10 years have been. Things actually, when I first graduated, things seemed like they were kind of on the up and up, but there were a lot of things in the world that 2015 or so, that's when I didn't really notice it at the time. Like in hindsight, 2015 was the year where I mean, if you look, there's all kinds of like weird global trends and macroeconomic things that started. Like that's when 2015, that's when the housing market started getting like really crazy really fast. It's also when immigration started getting like immigration was very high, and I noticed that back in the day, but I was like, that's a remarkable thing, and I didn't think too much about it until probably a couple years ago. So yeah, probably just a confluence of things. Also, people not paying, the absence of what I'd consider like actual good faith entrepreneurship. There's a lot of like there's actually very few startups I think that are starting to try and actually build a product. A lot of it's like people start a company with the goal of just doing like a pump and dump to grow really fast and then like get acquired by Google or something. But in a lot of cases, people don't even accomplish that. They raise a bunch of venture capital and they go under. Your? Oh yeah, you used the wrong your. Yeah, I mean, I'd like to be rich. My philosophy has been, my heuristic has been, I want to focus on something that is like useful or economically sustainable. So there's like, so no drop shipping then, or anything else like that. I mean, like if drop shipping, if that just worked and made a lot of money. I mean, there's tons of, I think the drop shipping was very successful. There was a time to make a lot of money on drop shipping, probably like early pandemic phase. And then it actually shifted. By the time I heard about it, the money to be made was to be made in selling drop shipping courses. And what happened was, with those drop shipping companies, people would, the way to run them really profitably was to build large lookalike audiences on Facebook. So you would use empirical sales data and then build up really large custom audiences. And the people who got into dropshipping early built the most valuable customer data sets of like just people. It would be like curve fitted to people who, just impulse buy stuff. And then as it got more competitive, having that early data was increasingly important. And then I think it was around that era that they tightened up. That was around when the Cambridge Analytica scandal happened, and also the iOS update. They changed some of the ad targeting, so ads became less effective. And after that, the profitability of stuff like drop shipping and a number of other advertising things became less effective. And so then the only people who could maintain profitable campaigns were like the people who are already doing like maybe millions of dollars in dropshipping. So if you try to do a dropshipping campaign, you would just lose money on the ads. And if you don't have traffic from ads, the question is where do you get the money? Where do you get the traffic to do dropshipping? You would have to and the only alternative would be to build like a traditional business with a brand and stuff, which is more stable and sustainable, but it's also a lot more work. And the way to do that would be to become like an influencer in that topic or something. Help me make an engine and become the next Epic Games. Is that an invitation to me or to Quest? Quest Claimer Official. Epic Games is 22.5 billion. That's a decent amount of money. That's twice as much as I need for the Deepwater port. Do not work in the industry right now, like hired by a company for a position. I am an employee of my company, and I have been. I'm the only employee of my company that I founded 11 years ago. And every month I make my payroll, and just barely. It's been a struggle though. The only reason I ask is because I see these 20-year-olds making lots of dinneroo, and they can't seem to be living a life of lux. look up Brandon Manson dropshipping, and you'll see. I actually I watched quite a few dropshipping videos. I think it's the dropshipping fad is like long since passed. I think even these days, if you try to set up a dropshipping company, you'd probably get banned from Facebook ads. But yeah, I saw lots of videos about people talking about making money on it and stuff like that. There's I mean, I don't want to say all of them are frauds, but and if any of them have figured it out, then good for them. But the number of people, there's a ton of people that just I mean, there's all sorts of like people do silly things, like they'll brag, they'll set up one of those and then brag and say that they did like $20,000 in sales. They'll say they made $20,000, but what they don't tell you is that that's revenue and not profit, and that they spent $21,000 in ads to get $20,000 in revenue, which is not impressive. And then some of them are making like there's a few I think that probably do find a niche for a while. Like there's a few like there's probably I've actually kind of suspected that a few times. I almost suspect that I've actually bought things that were drop shipped because I buy stuff on eBay sometimes, like just like really simple kind of industrial, very niche industrial items, and the shipping is incredibly cheap. And a couple of times I've actually found them like double bagged, where it's like shipped to an address in like Saudi Arabia or something, and then it's like been repackaged and sent to me. But it's possible, like you might pick some industrial item, and then you may find that for 6 months you can make money drop shipping it, but then like I think the ones where I would say maybe they are onto something is where they'll hide what product they're selling, because the instant that they tell you what the product was, 1,000 other people will compete with them. But the problem is if the bar's that low, like the internet's not private. You can just scrape Amazon, and I would imagine, like if you can make millions of dollars doing it, why wouldn't you make a bot to scrape the list of like all active Facebook ads? And I think you can actually, I think it's even like open source places to buy that, where you can buy or access a database of ads that are serving to other people right now on Facebook, because that's valuable. Because if you see someone, if you know there's a specific ad someone else is running, and they're putting like millions of dollars into that ad on Facebook, the only way they can do that is if they're making money at it. So of course, lots of people are really interested in seeing a list of the most, 10 most advertised things on Facebook. And if one of those is your drop shipping item, then you can bet that like 10 billion people are going to compete with you. So you might find a niche that works for a little while, but for something like drop shipping, it's going to be competed away pretty soon. Unity made their engine by first making a game, and they made the game engine on top of it. If you're serious, look into how they did that. Could become an invitation someday. You do plenty of UI stuff, and I have no editor. I have a lot to sort out. Yeah, I think having like a specific a specific implementation of something and then generalizing a specific implementation is better than doing the reverse, which is actually kind of how I write the game. So I'll try to just add a feature in the most like poorly coded way possible, and then once I have it working, the working thing is basically like its own unit test, and then I just clean the code up and simplify it, and kind of like I've been doing for the last 50 or so days. And honestly, you could probably, I don't think it's quite there yet, but you probably could make a game engine around, at least as far as terminal games go. You can make a game engine around this screen updating code. I have no idea why I'm making an app with dolphin facts in C. Is that's your money-making idea? I don't know. I don't mean to be a downer, but I think that's the business model there is questionable. Then again, I don't know, maybe you could put it in, I don't know, is there any app stores for C programs? You could put it in there, and if there is one, and if there isn't one, maybe that's the idea. You can make an app store for C programs. So if this actually works, this might be substantially faster, I think. Do you know anything about why Waterloo makes people bald? I don't know. I guess there are a few memes circulating around about that. I don't know. I guess baldness is correlated with, there's something going on there with baldness and testosterone. So I guess it would. I think if you Waterloo's a very mathematics heavy university. The reason I went to Waterloo, I originally wanted to study pure math, and eventually at the last minute I switched to software engineering. But I think of the I guess I don't know of this for sure, but my hypothesis is that if you do a survey, probably the average baldness of a mathematician is probably greater than it is of the general population. I have no editor for putting things in the scene. Type IDs and all kinds of numbers. Yeah, I guess if you want marketability, you'll need something better than that. But I don't know. The world is changing so much now. I think there's maybe something on the horizon with AI, or I wonder if some venture capital firm is going to raise like $200 million and build some kind of like super AI that like just makes games, and the games are full of bugs, but then the games are like fun enough and they have enough loot boxes that they make money, and then that becomes like the new gaming industry. And then all mobile, there's no more desktop games. Everyone games on their phones. I think that's possibly an underappreciated thing, is the changing demographics of games. So far, AI has proven it can't. It can make a bunch of slop. So far, I mean, there could also be, it's also not just about value creation, but I wonder too about like value stealing. Like it's so much work to create things, but AI is just a great way to steal things. And I think it's important in whatever you're building to think about like how do you continue to capture value if an AI just steals all your like art assets and environments and I think the opposite, the need for high quality, very technical systems is going to increase while most developers try to figure out how to wade in the slop. Yeah, I think there definitely is going to be a large segment of the economy that tries to like chase the idea of like people are going to wake up and be like, hey, how do I put in no effort and use AI to like make infinite money? There's going to be a lot of people chasing that. I think it's I think the value of human-based outputs is going to go up. So if you can provably say that this output is produced by me, a real human, even if it's like wrong or bad, people will appreciate. Like people will buy artwork just because they know it's produced by a human, but nobody wants to buy, AI slop because you can get that for free. All right, let's try to compile that and see what it does. I want to use AI for its best purposes. But the race to bottom for development has been fun to watch. Yeah, I think I also think I think the way I'm going to start summarizing AI is that the AI we have for coding is bad enough that I don't want to use it, but it's good enough that I recognize that I can't just ignore it. And on top of that, I also see an increasing number of it really does seem like there is an investor-backed effort to like really hype up AI, probably because they want to scare every CEO out there and get them to start using AI and buying their products and stuff. Use Copilot for completion. That's about it. Yeah, I've used it. I've done those. I guess I've done several streams where I started with trying some AI prompts and reviewed them. I'll try to do more of those, but I now have the best dolphin application for dolphin facts. Fear me. That's pretty impressive. How many facts does it contain? Can it also support narwhal facts? Have you done any Windows C++ programming? I did actually back in 2007. That was my first introduction to C++. I think I had like Visual Studio 6 back in the day. But since then, I have not done any in the last 18 years. Well, that's why I edited the wrong one. Win32. Yeah, that was Those were not high quality programs. That was actually where I started trying to write more code, and realized like I need to like go to school and learn how to do this. School schmool. I can ask AI. He can now, but back in 2007, you couldn't. Actually, I wanted to go to school and learn AI. That was actually when I first got into like learning about. I found out about Jeffrey Hinton. I started watching some of his lectures and stuff online. Is all of this plan just cope, though? Just watch your plan video. Is all of this plan just cope? I don't know how to define cope in this context. I am a weird guy. I'm extremely bizarre. Say weird things. Why even consciousness exists? Am I an automaton? I don't know. Those questions are not that weird. Those are. I guess if you get preoccupied with those questions, then you can. That can make you really unproductive. Personally, I think the point is what plan works better. Yeah, I think it's a pretty decent plan. And if you agree, you can become a channel member and help support the cause. Just go with your gut. Yep, that's the secret. You just have to believe in yourself. So there's an access violation here somewhere. All right, so let's see if that works. What ideas would you build with VC money, aside from 12 billion for Arctic conquest? I don't know. I guess the serious answer, like if someone actually gave me massive amounts of money to invest, it's a difficult question to answer because it really depends on. I think it depends on how much money. I think like the way I would allocate $10,000 is different than the way I'd allocate 100,000 or $1 million or 10 million. And then also you have to couple that with like there's like money max. You can go for full money maximizing goal, but usually there's some other kind of like just purely trying to maximize money. It probably makes sense to just put in the S&P 500 or something, or some kind of stable investment. Can you say 6-7? Why? Is this some kind of meme? Animal Bro VR. Facepalm? I don't get it. Do you get it? It's brain rot. Do you guys know what he's talking about? Is it a meme or something, or is that just one of those like totally random comments that like when people bring up Wayment? 6-7 is a meme. That's kind of crazy that there's so many esoteric memes, and even if you're on the internet all the time, you can't even keep up. If you're not deeply into quantitative analysis and also highly competent, you'll probably not beat the market. Yeah, unless you have like insider information. Said venture capitalists should put their money into S&P, then build a venture with you. A realistic, like if you're actually just look at it from a return on investment perspective, I think you'll have to Google this to double check it, but if you look at some of the like huge VC funds, I think the average returns actually didn't beat the market. Like there's a small number of investments they made, like Airbnb, Instagram, Uber and stuff. Those were successful, but for every one of those, there's like a massive number of total failures. And I think the average return has ended up historically for most funds has ended up being like below general market. But I don't know. There's lots of things to analyze about that. The zero interest rate era is probably over for the foreseeable future, or maybe not. I've heard some talks like the economy is starting to falter. So I've heard there's talk now of more rate cuts. It's black box. It's a losing proposition. I want to make a budget PC. Is a 2060 a good choice? I'm the wrong person to ask about that. There might be someone in chat that knows, but I'd check out Linus Tech Tips or something. We get survivor bias. It's training courses you can buy. I never heard of it before. Now Wikipedia says 6-7 may cement itself as one of the defining memes of 2025. I'm officially out of touch. A lot of the memes seem to be becoming like increasingly abstract, and as someone said, they're increasingly becoming brain rot. And it makes me wonder, like, what's the activation energy to create a new meme now? I think if you just create some weird sounding word or something and associate it with something funny, like, you know, heads bombing out of toilets or something. What is the meme about? There will be a rate cut in the U.S. Jobs report was low. $20.80 was decent. It still holds up. All right, let's see if I can figure out what's going on here. So still on 394, there's actually that makes sense why that would not be correct, because I guess J might be the variable that's off here. Can't even figure out what it's about. A lyric in a song, a basketball player's height. A kid. I don't know. There's a lot. The internet is becoming weird. Like the internet is. Honestly, doing live streaming has made me become aware of how much garbage there is. Like there's rogue algorithms and bots. There's also crazy people and foreign threat actors. And there's probably like like some of these memes. They almost seem like they're psyops or something. Vong Klein Lamb says, hi, how's it going? That's why it's brain rot. It means nothing. Or does it mean something profound? I was asking because a while back what your favorite project would be to work on. You asked for work or for fun. Then shut down the stream. Oh, okay. I don't know. It's I'd say my I guess when I was younger, I had a more naive understanding of the world and the way it worked. So when I was younger, I think I kind of aspired to be more like an academic who would make, breakthroughs in math or something like that. Just because I think that is kind of one of the like maximally productive ways to contribute to society, is if you can like discover a new algorithm or a new way of optimizing something. People can use that for the rest of humanity. So they like the present value of it is infinite. But then I went to school, and then I decided, it makes sense to do something more practical, get the work experience, get the money. Then I decided to go down that route. And then after actually working at some of these companies, I decided that it makes more sense to start a business. So I guess with the business, you can have some independence. You have a hope. If you get I guess lucky, and or if you're good enough, then you can potentially make more money than you would in a job. I don't know, the question about what to do if someone just gave me a massive amount of money. It's a really hard question to answer because there's so many. Like if I actually raised like $1 million or something, that could keep some kind of project going for quite a while, but it would have to become like a long haul thing. And right now my priority is getting closer and closer to just get through to the next month. Try to get some recurring growth. People will tell you you're wrong still after you're successful. Yeah, I have from the early days when I said I was pursuing a business, there are I mean, most people are don't really kind of think deep about stuff. They just want to pick a team. Like when I first started and said I'm going to start a business, there were a few people who were like, wow, congratulations, like that's so impressive. But I'm like, I haven't done anything yet. I have not at all proven my successfulness. And there's always a group of people who will unconditionally support you, and then people who will unconditionally oppose you. Now I just need to figure out why this offset is not working. that's what I need to do. J minus string y. That almost worked. All right, that's pretty broken, but all right, it's almost working. Have a few good ideas for ventures. I'm working on one. I'm trading to build up capital for whatever opportunity appears. Yeah, ideas are the easy part. The hard part is the execution. And on the trading to build up capital, I wish you luck, but like I said before, trying to beat the market is challenging. The competition is fierce. There's a lot of people trying. Ideas don't seem easy for me. I will say, I think when it comes to competitive advantage for like having the right idea, I think if the idea is like a process or an insight, like if you have an idea and the idea is something that you could consider like a trade secret that improves the efficiency of a process, or like it's a better way to get leads, or it's something where if you told everybody about it, where like your competitive advantage would go away if it was public, or like well understood by other people, then those are ideas that I think are pretty valuable. But if it's an idea like if it's an idea for ride sharing apps are everywhere these days, but if someone has like an idea for it's some kind of AI assistant for pet medical advice or something like that, I'm sure there's like 10 billion people who are already working on that. And if there aren't, then there's probably a reason why. And the other thing is, ideas like that can also often get replaced wholesale, because like any kind of AI assistant business people are building, like a lot of ideas that people have for AI startups right now probably just distilled down to doing an API call to ChatGPT, and if your product depends on ChatGPT, then it's not. You can easily be replaced by ChatGPT itself. Up a lot year to date. Excellent. I'm glad to hear that. I hope that keeps up. I hope I don't hear from you one day and you're like, I got totally wiped out today, lost everything in the market. Because if there's big gains, wherever there's big gains to be had, there's also huge losses. No AI projects. Yeah, it's probably a good idea, unless it's yeah, like I said, that if you have some competitive advantage, like if you have a data set that not many people have, and you did like an AI thing, or even like if you sell, if you had some non-public data set and you charged per API call for like some AI scraping service to like, slowly steal your data, that might be a decent business model for a while. I guess you'd kind of be effectively just selling the data, but you might be able to milk it more with some kind of API wrapper or something. Just my local AI server. Have you ever tried making an account with any social media app with a different age to understand what other people are into? Like just as an initial sign up? I haven't tried that. I mean, if you try, you can easily check the difference between what you get recommended on YouTube on your homepage. You could just open like an incognito window to get an idea of that. I think it's also not just about age, but you have to like build up your own filter bubble. Because once it'll like learn your habits and stuff. And I think probably by now some of these services probably they try to connect it with like existing profiles. So if you sign up as that actual person, they probably have like pre-stored data on you. So you can buy like you can probably buy data from data brokers of like a list of emails and topics that people are interested in, and you can use that to seed the initial sign up. Reason I'm doing game agent and game is because I'm passionate. I would do or fund a business idea. Just most people just don't have ideas. Don't want to risk even their time. Yeah, I don't know. I think I probably won't pursue any kind of investment at any point. I think any actual, if you take investment, you have to give up equity, and then I don't know. I prefer. I think from what I've learned in all the like entrepreneurial groups and stuff that I've been in, like I did. I was in Velocity residence in university where we did all these talks, and we went to all these talks and meetups and stuff for networking events for people who were doing startups, and investors would come and talk and stuff. and I came to the conclusion that if I met people, most people that I meet, I would probably not want to partner with in business. But then I think if I did actually meet someone who I thought was skilled enough, they would probably also have to have a very they would have to have very strongly held convictions and beliefs about what they were doing. And I think the number of people who would see eye to eye on everything with me is pretty small. It's nice to just be free. So good idea, just using a handful of demographic socks to gauge the market. What are we building? We're building a terminal-based video game where you simulate the process of mining blocks of iron ore. I think ads are a problem these days, but they make money. I saw your short regarding that. Oh, okay. Yeah, that short video is starting to trend a little bit. I kind of expected that to get less views, but did a lot better in partnerships and by myself. Except for the one that got ruined by the pandemic. Yeah, when I was in university, I met I had a pretty tight crew of people that I worked with. I had a group of friends where we worked together on all of our projects, and we all worked together very well. But then after graduation, everybody, most of the people I knew, all moved away to the States. And actually, one of the other people I know, I know quite a few people who have started their own companies. But I guess if you meet someone early on who you really have a good synergy with, and I think especially if you've been through like a really challenging experience with them, those would be the people to start a company with. But or I guess it's co-founders, and if someone's just like a passive investor, that's kind of a little bit different. But then you also have to think about, like, are you giving up equity or like controlling votes in the business, or So let's try to follow through the logic in that case. So this is a pretty simple one. It's a single layer and it can't even do that correctly. I always kept my own business. Still have it today. Also had partnerships and other ventures at the same time. Never gave up anything, just a new venture. Yeah, for now, I think I need to, I've got enough stuff on the go. I gotta get straightened out. Ever thought about making a company that designs and builds boats? I never have, but now I'm thinking about that. Each one made money for the next. That's good. It sounds like you've been more successful than me. Good night. Have a good night. One was fiber infrastructure and ISP. Interesting. I wouldn't know the first thing about that. I figure most of the work that needs to be done for that is like the actually physically going out and like the technician stuff where you're gonna knock on people's doors, be like, hey, can I run a cable over in the back alley out here? Was a challenge. Some was on poles. Some we had to bore underground. Had a franchise agreement with the city. Huh. Potter laid tons of conduit and fiber. Interesting. Oh, that. Partners didn't always get along, but we were successful. Interesting. That's very different work from sitting in front of a keyboard. I guess if you're in a specific location, like a city or whatever, and if you're like one of the few people in that area who's doing it, you could probably make quite a bit if you didn't have a competition. Before I leave, what advice would you give me? I'm a uni student here in Asia. Uni education is like meh, no good connections either. Though a full stack, but I put that on for later. I don't know, good advice for a uni student in Asia. I guess probably depends where in Asia. So I guess China, the economy in China is very different from the Philippines or you may have to just chase opportunity. There's probably the location really matters. You have to go where opportunities are. Because if you're in a place where there's no opportunity, then it's going to be really difficult to get ahead. Most of my work was sitting in front of a keyboard. Oh, okay. I did the network design. Kartik Jaden says, "What is up? How's it going?" Finance quite a bit. Yeah, financing is that's where I guess it gets precarious if you don't have full confidence that you can actually pull off what you're doing. But I'll probably leave it there for tonight. 12:38. I got that function written. There's some bugs in it, but I'll check it with the debugger later, see if there's anything quick that'll fix it. And if not, we'll continue on it tomorrow, and then I don't know. Hopefully that new variation of that function will gain some performance improvements. And then I think there's some other just like kind of simple brain dead stuff, like adding final and stuff. To download the game, if you go to the link in the description, there should be a link to the GitHub for the game. And it's got the full source, and there's some precompiled jars there as well. But anyway, that's it for tonight. We'll be back tomorrow for day 135. Talk to you later.